I want to talk to you about a system of design called permaculture and how we can develop agricultural ecosystems or food forests through its principles. First, let's talk about our conventional way of producing food through monocultures. This is where we take some soil, tractor, put seeds all over the field of one type of plant, and then throw on fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. This is what we get, a big crop of one type of plant, like canola, bananas, wheat. Now let's talk about a different type of food production system called a polyculture. This is where you have that same soil, but instead of seeding it with the same seed all over the field, you plant different things using the existing environmental factors as your guide. By not using the fungicides, pesticides, and herbicides, you're going to eventually get really beneficial fungi and bugs growing in your soil that are going to work very symbiotically with your plants to keep them healthy and to help them get the nutrients that they need without the use of chemical fertilizers. Other bugs and their predators will come into the ecosystem. Bees, butterflies, and birds will pollinate your plants. Birds and mammals will eat some fruit and disperse the seeds. Not to mention, all of these animals will poop lots and eventually die and decompose and turn into beautiful soil. Now let's review what we've learned so far. A monoculture is one type of plant. A polyculture made up of many different species. Monocultures conventionally use fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, whereas a polyculture is conventionally organic because it's a closed-loop ecosystem providing for itself. A monoculture, the plant roots all go to the same length in the soil, so they're all gunning for the same resources. Whereas a polyculture, the species are all looking for different resources, giving and taking what they need from each other. To illustrate this, let's imagine a world where all of the workers are shoemakers and nothing else. All we make are loads of shoes. Eventually we run out of shoemaking supplies like rubber and plastic because we all need the same thing. In our monoculture, all of the plants need the same nutrients from the soil, so they deplete the soil of those nutrients very quickly, and that's why we need to apply fertilizer. They also have the same structure. The roots all go to the same level, so they're competing for the same water, which is why we need to irrigate. In our world of shoemakers, what if no one wanted to wear shoes anymore, and instead the going trend was to be barefoot? We'd all be vulnerable. There would be no other job markets to fall back on. And in our field, if one plant is susceptible to a pest or a fungus, they're all susceptible because they're all the same plant, and the entire crop would be destroyed. Now instead, let's imagine in our world we have a variety of people: shoemakers, bread bakers, fruit growers. We're all using different resources and working as more of a community. The bread baker gives the shoemaker some bread in exchange for some shoes. It works. Everyone gets what they need. In our polyculture, all of the plants will be seeking different nutrients from the soil, and when they die, they'll decompose and offer different nutrients back to the soil. They have different structures, providing different elements of shading, root depth, etc. So in our world of shoemakers and bread bakers, if suddenly no one wants to wear shoes anymore, it's okay. The shoemakers might be out of a job temporarily, but they'll have a thriving economy to fall back on. And in our polyculture, if a bug comes in that really loves one of our plants, say tomatoes, it might destroy all of the tomatoes, but we have a ton of diversity to fall back on. At the end of the season, we still have things to grow and sell. To summarize what we've learned, monocultures are good at producing loads of one type of plant, but they lack diversity, leading to the system being weak and non-resilient. Monocultures don't have any resiliency built into them, and if we didn't top up the soil every year, they'd collapse. Monocultures require loads of money and energy, oil and gas to run the expensive equipment, money to buy all the chemicals and seeds, whereas polycultures, you're working with nature. You're letting things grow into an ecosystem that's providing for itself. So which would you choose? Good choice.
Created using Powtoon.